A biblical prophecy is being fulfilled as we speak in the United Nations. The Torah tells us 3,000 years ago, behold, a nation set apart, a nation that sits alone and not reckoned amongst the nations of the world. Take a look at the insane double standard with which Israel is judged in the United Nations, how Israel is held accountable to a standard that no other nation in the world is held accountable for. Listen to what this Yemeni national has to say in his outrage about why Israel alone is singled out for human rights abuses, war crimes, and other such travesties, whereas the world doesn't even utter a peep about the real transgressors of these crimes in the world. Listen to what he had to say.
I asked the UN, the Arab League, and everyone who has been raising the Palestinian flag since October 7, where is the flag of Yemen? In my country, 500,000 people have died in the last 10 years. The biggest famine and humanitarian crisis in modern history. Why does no one care when 500,000 Yemenis die? What about Sudan? In less than 2 years, more than 150,000 people have been killed. Where is the flag of Sudan? What about Syria? 500,000 Syrians have been killed. Where is the Syrian flag? High Commissioner, why is it that when Arabs kill millions of Arabs, no one bats an eye? Where is the outrage and where are the protests? High Commissioner, may I ask why your report mentions Israel 188 times, yet fails to mention the Islamic regime in Iran even once? How can you speak about the conflict while ignoring the party that has armed, trained, and funded terror proxies like Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, who have been bombing Israel thousands of times? Why don't you mention the Houthis in Yemen, who have spent millions of dollars firing missiles at Israel instead of feeding my starving people? And why is Qatar sitting here as a member of the Human Rights Council when they host the Hamas terror leaders in luxury hotels?
The United Nations is rendered speechless, unable to answer this very simple question. But the fact is that no other nation in history has been attacked and then responded by feeding her aggressors. Yet Israel has exhibited extraordinary magnanimity, extraordinary benevolence and kindness, true Jewish values, in being able to provide for the needs of the Gazan population. It's not Israel that is exploiting the Gazan citizens. It is Hamas who is exploiting the Gazan citizens. Free Palestine is not to free Palestine from Israel. It's to free these Palestinians from Hamas. To put things into perspective, since the war began, Israel has provided 850 kilograms of aid per resident in Gaza per year. Yet, during the Berlin airlift, which happened in 1948 and 1949, the Allies supplied their own civilians with 920 kilograms over 15 months. That's comparable in volume. But again, that was alley to alley, not an enemy supporting its wartime adversary like Israel is providing to Gaza. Another example, in the Biafran Civil War, 1967 through 1970, church-led NGOs managed just 30 kilograms of aid per person over 2 years. That's 30 kilograms of aid. The Nigerian government actively obstructed these efforts, yet Israel is providing 850 kilograms of aid per person per year in Gaza. And one more example, during the siege of Sarajevo, 1992 through 1996, it was the United Nations that provided around 457 kilograms per person over 3.5 years. That's 130 kilograms per person per year, compared to Israel's providing 850 kilograms to each Gazan individual per person per year. And don't forget that in that siege of Sarajevo, the Serb forces routinely impeded aid access. The bottom line is that no modern conflict has ever seen anything like what is going on in Israel right now, where Israel is providing her aggressors, the very people that are still holding 50 of our civilians hostage, yet Israel is providing for their needs. It is a shanda of epic proportion. Oh, and that thing about genocide, what they claim about genocide has nothing to do with reality. The Gazan population since October 7th has increased by 2.02%. If it's a genocide, it's the worst and most unsuccessful genocide because it's actually growing in their population. As Jews around the world are being attacked for their religion, when anti Semites around the world are no longer differentiating between nationality and religion, accosting Jews wearing yarmulkes, shuls, synagogues, and Jewish centers around the world as if they were Israeli. That is pure anti Semitism, unadulterated, shameless, removing its mask. And we Jews are quickly realizing the fulfillment of yet another prophecy in the Torah, this one from Yalkut Shimoni, that says, in the year that the King Messiah will arrive, the Jewish people will be made so uncomfortable that they will no longer be able to differentiate friend from foe, and they will have no longer any ability to turn to anybody else other than their Father in heaven. And when we do so, when we Jews turn our hearts and our minds back to our Father in heaven, leaning only on God instead of governments, political powers, and even financial superpowers, when we realize that our friends are only our own God and everybody else you never really know, it's then that we will merit to see the arrival of the Messiah, the era of world peace, of higher consciousness for which this world has been waiting for. It seems like it's closer than ever before. Amen.